While it's true that Sonic is originally a video game character, his franchise has expanded to be much more than that. We've seen the success he has in the toy market, television shows, and comic book series. IDW Publishing is producing the latest Sonic comics. However, this comic universe is pretty new. It takes off from the games. There is a comic series though that ran from Sonic's early conception in the 90s to 2017, making it the longest running video game comic ever. You can imagine that a series like this would have a lot of lore, and that's what we're going to be covering today. If you've been following my channel, you'd know that I've talked about Sonic's family tree in the Archie comics series. And if you're new, you can check it out by clicking the icon above. We're going to be continuing this series, and this time we're going to take a look at Tails' family tree. Let's start with the main man himself, Tails. Just like his game counterpart, his real name is Miles per hour, made to sound like miles per hour, which is a nice little indication that he's a supersonic speedster too. Now, this Tails is very different from what you may know. There's a whole lot to talk about regarding this version of Tails, but we'll just go over the basics. As a cub, Tails was an orphan, and he had assumed his parents had died during Robotnik's siege of the Kingdom of Acorn. When he got older, he joined Sonic and the Freedom Fighters in order to take down Robotnik. Fun fact, the reason Tails is so smart is that he ate a fruit from the Tree of Wisdom. The fruit's true abilities were temporary, but did boost his innate intelligence. He wasn't limited to the Freedom Fighters though. He got to go on his own adventures, and one of those adventures revealed his very significant order in the multiverse. He was the Chosen One. Because he was the Chosen One, he was given supernatural abilities, and at one point he defeated a universe-destroying god named Mogul, becoming the ultimate power in the multiverse. So yeah, Tails has had a pretty crazy life. As it turns out, Tails' family wasn't dead. Sonic actually found Tails' mother and father in outer space. Tails' father is named Amadeus Prower. Amadeus was originally a commander for the Kingdom of Acorn. However, when he was investigating Dr. Robotnik's activities, he ended up captured and roboticized. For a long time, him and his wife were perceived dead, but they had actually been rescued by an alien race called the BEM, and they were brought to the BEM's home planet named Archie, where Amadeus was de-roboticized. They were there for over a decade before Sonic found them. At the time, Sonic was blown millions of light years away after destroying the Quantum Dial, a weapon that would destroy the solar system. Later on, they were rescued by Sonic and Tails and brought back to Mobius. Amadeus was not happy with how the kingdom was being run though, making him start a protest for King Elias to step down. This led to him getting arrested, but Tails ended up breaking him out. He pursued King Elias and challenged him to step down. Sadly, Acorn stopped the battle, and Amadeus and Elias agreed to instead form a council for the kingdom. On the more supernatural side, we have Tails' uncle, named Merlin Prower. If it wasn't obvious by his name, Merlin is a wizard. He has a special connection to the Ancient Walkers, the gods of the universe. He studied the power of the Chaos Force under them, and this connection made him aware of Tails' destiny as the Chosen One. He was pretty cryptic at first, only appearing to Tails and his friends on some occasions. He's actually the one who gave Tails his shoes, though it was through an exchange from Sonic. He did play a role in trying to subdue Knuckles, who was becoming uncontrollable in power due to his Chaos form. Merlin put a spell on Tails that would make him transform into his Chosen One form, Turbo Tails, setting him to fight Chaos Knuckles. Overall, Merlin was a very helpful person to the Freedom Fighters, but he would take a new role as the successor to the Ancient Walkers, who were killed in a dimensional breach attack. Merlin alongside the Echidnas, Aurora, and Adhair became Neo-Walkers, beings of incredible power. Tails' mother is named Rosemary Prower. Rosemary gave birth to Tails around the same time that Robotnik started his siege. She had handed Tails to her nannies Rosie and Jalila so that she could search for Amadeus, who was investigating Robotnik's antics. She ended up getting captured and brought to Robotnik alongside Amadeus. When Rosemary was about to get roboticized, the BEM saved them and brought them to Archie. They were there for more than 10 years, but Sonic eventually found them. She had the opportunity to go back to Mobius with Sonic because there was an extra seat on the spaceship, but she decided to stay with Amadeus on the planet. Afterwards, Sonic and Tails rescued them from the planet. Just like Amadeus, Rosemary had problems with how the House of Acorn was handling the war against Dr. Robotnik. This led to the protest that Amadeus was arrested for, but Rosemary and Tails broke him out. Rosemary ended up attaining a position in the council, helping the kingdom and the Freedom Fighters in any way that they could. The Archie comics have a future timeline called Light Mobius, and we get to see a scenario with Tails' own family. In this timeline, he has a wife named Mina Mongoose. Mina is a celebrity in Naho Village. She was gifted super speed just like Sonic, and she had a crush on him at first. This made her become a temporary freedom fighter, but when she saw that Sonic liked Sally more, she decided to move on from him. She started dating her manager, Ash, but in this timeline she ends up marrying Tails. How did Tails end up marrying a pop star? I have no idea, but Tails is definitely pretty fond with the ladies in some of his other incarnations. Mina and Tails have 2 children. One is a girl named Melody. Melody had Mina's super speed handed down to her. She played an important part in a battle against T-Chaos, which is a fusion between T-Cal and Chaos. Because of her actions as well as her adventurous nature, she became a member of the future freedom fighters. The other child is a boy named Sky. Sky has Tails' love for machines passed down to him. However, he's pretty timid, which we can see when he can barely greet Melody's friend Lara Sue. Sky also played a role in the fight against the Chaos, distracting the God of Destruction while the others attacked. This gave him a position in the future freedom fighters. And yeah, that's pretty much Tails' entire family tree. From commanders to wizardry to celebrity hookups and to pan-dimensional power, this family is pretty bizarre. If you guys want, we can continue the series, but we'll be going over Knuckles' family tree, and man, that would be a lot to cover. But if you guys want it, I'd be more than happy to do it. In the meantime, you can check out my Sonic Discussions playlist for other Sonic topics. You can also reach me at my Discord group, which I'll link below. Until then, be cool, be wild, and be groovy.